Greetings, everyone. My name is Patricia Hopkins, and on this beautiful September morning, I would like to present Lost in the Offbeat. Now, Lost in the Offbeat is the third in a series of In the Offbeat series. First is Life in the Offbeat, second is Loving in the Offbeat, and third is Lost in the Offbeat. And so this is my contemporary romance series, and here's a brief description. Lost in the Offbeat. This contemporary romance novel is the third book in the Offbeat series. Whereas the two first novels focused on Veronica Indigo Pierce's life, drama-filled life, Lost in the Offbeat picks up where Loving in the Offbeat left off, with Joy Parker and her family living in Hampton, Virginia. Doing the right thing has never come easily for Joy, and with a tongue as sharp as her wit, getting into trouble seems to be the one thing that she does very well. No one can predict the future is the old adage. That's what they say. And it's never been truer as Joy and her family struggle through numerous life challenges. Inevitably, as their losses continue to mount, Joy Parker must decide if her house will stand or be divided. In spite of the many obstacles she will face throughout this novel, Joy Parker will not disappoint those readers who enjoy her outrageous antics. Now, this book contains real-life dramatic situations with Joy and her family, her husband and her two children. So it's very interesting. It's very real to life. So please get your first novel, Life in the Offbeat. And this is available on Amazon in ebook and paperback. Just follow me on www.patriciaorhopkins.com, on Instagram at Patricia or Hopkins, on Facebook at author Patricia Hopkins. Dr. Love, this one's for you. Peace. Greetings all, my name is Patricia Hopkins, and today I will be reading an excerpt from my novel, Lost in the Offbeat. Now, this is the third book in the trilogy of In the Offbeat series, and I will be reading from chapter 12, beginning on page 101. Please enjoy. Let me see what you have. Bryson pulled a Ziploc bag filled with hundreds of colorful little pills from his pants pocket. He handed them to Cedric. Damn, this is ecstasy. Cedric was dismayed by the seemingly never-ending cycle of desperation these kids faced on a daily basis. Do you know what could happen if one of your friends had a bad reaction to one of these pills? Bryson stared blankly ahead. All sorts of bad things, seizures, brain damage, even death. These innocent little pills can kill your friends. Do you want that to happen? No, sir. Cedric ran both hands wearily over his sweaty face. I'll tell you what. I'll take the pills and get rid of them. What about my mama's rent money? Let me hold on to what you have, and I'll loan the rest to you. You can pay me back by coming to the youth center and working your debt off. I'll stop by the bank after I get home and bring the money by your house by Monday. You still live in those townhomes across from the street from the park? Bryson nodded. He watched Mr. Parker slide what remained of his mother's rent money into the bag filled with pills. We'll talk to your mother together and explain what you did. Okay? Bryson appeared deflated. Mr. Parker, I was just trying to help. I know, but sometimes your good intentions just make things that much worse. You go on home and think of some other ways to help your mother out. Okay, Bryson said. He added, do we have to tell my mama about the money? Can't you just give it back to me and I can give it back to her? No. You've got to learn your actions have consequences. Cedric looked past Bryson at the other teens still gathered in the park. When you're older, you'll understand. You might even thank me for this. Okay. Bryson backed away, unsure. So I'll see you later, Mr. Parker? Give me a couple of hours, Bryson. Bryson glanced back at Cedric one last time before he turned to run in the opposite direction of the park. And for just a moment, as Cedric watched him run, he once again resembled the 12-year-old boy that he actually was. Damn kids, he muttered. When will they learn? He tucked the bag of pills inside the waistband of his jogging shorts because he had nowhere else to stash them. Instead of continuing his run, he he decided to go home instead. As he exited the park, he was met with a loud whoop, whoop, whoop noise from behind. He turned to see a police cruiser with its lights flashing headed his way. Filled with certainty that the police weren't pursuing him, Cedric continued on his way, ignoring the siren. The whoop, whoop, whoop came once more. He glanced back, yet kept walking, unaware that he was the object of their attention. "Hey, buddy," called out one of the cops over the car's intercom. "You, in the blue shorts. I'm talking to you." The police cruiser slowly pulled up alongside Cedric. He started walking more slowly. "Are you talking to me?" he asked in disbelief. He'd often heard the young men he counseled talk about being pulled over for walking while black, but until today he had never personally experienced it. A black police officer in the passenger seat wearing a stereotypical pair of Ray-Ban shades yelled out to him, "Sir, we need you to stop walking." "Why? I'm on the sidewalk." "Sir, I'm going to ask you again. Please stop walking." "Fine, I'll stop." The white cop who was driving placed the car in park. The black cop got out of the car and approached Cedric. "How are you today?" "What can I do for you, officer?" Cedric asked politely. You've been playing a little basketball this morning?" the cop asked. "No, actually, I was out for a jog." "Really? We observed you speaking to a group of teenagers on a basketball court." Cedric noted the white policeman speaking into the radio. He explained, "Yes, I stopped to talk to those teens for a few minutes. May I see your identification, sir?" "I didn't bring my ID with me. I told you I was out jogging and really didn't think I needed it." "I need you to step over here, please." The black cop pointed to the side of the cruiser. "Officer, can you please tell me what's going on? If I can have your cooperation, this will be over in a few minutes." "I just stopped by to talk to them." "What is your name, sir?" "Cedric Parker," he answered. "And your address?" asked the policeman. Cedric rattled off his address while the officer took notes. "Mr. Parker, the reason we stopped you is because we have received several complaints about teenagers dealing drugs in the park. Look, I'm a youth counselor. I work with these kids every day. Really. Where do you work?" "Over at the youth center, near downtown." "Well, then I'm sure you understand our concerns." "I don't follow. Why did you stop me?" "This morning, we received an anonymous tip that an older man was in the park making a drug deal with a group of teens." Cedric's mind immediately went to the bag of ecstasy tucked inside his shorts. He started to laugh at the irony of the situation that was unfolding. After all was said and done, Cedric Parker, upstanding citizen with a good job, a loving family, and well known in the community, had unwittingly become the main character in an age-old script written by society hundreds of years before he was even born. "What is so funny, sir?" asked the black cop. I was in the park talking to those kids about this very thing. I told them all to go home and to find some other ways to make a living. This is all a little misunderstanding, officer." "Did you observe any drugs while you spoke to them?" No, that's not what I said. That's not what I meant. I had the feeling they were up to something, so I told them to leave," Cedric explained nervously. "Wait here," the cop told Cedric. The black police officer walked to the driver's side and handed the information to the white officer who was speaking on the cruiser's radio, all the while keeping an eye on Cedric. Shit, Cedric thought. "What the fuck have I got myself into?" he whispered to himself. He glanced across the street to find Bryson standing there holding a little girl's hand, who was probably his little sister, watching the scenario play out. After what felt like several minutes, the police officer returned to Cedric's side. "You're free to go, sir. I hope you understand we have to look into any and all suspicious activity to keep our neighborhood safe." "No problem, officer. I understand." Cedric reached out to shake the officer's hand. When he did so, The slight motion loosened the bag from the waistband of his shorts, and what felt as if it could only be slow motion, the bag slipped free, slid down his leg, and landed on the sidewalk. Dumbfounded, Cedric stared at the drugs lying at his feet, and then watched in disbelief as the officer bent down to retrieve the bag. Well, 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 what do we have here? I can explain that, officer, Cedric stuttered. It's that this isn't what it looks like. Really. This looks like a bag of ecstasy to me, and there's a wad of cash inside. Care to explain what you're doing with this? This is all a misunderstanding. Those pills aren't mine. I took that bag from one of my kids when he told me that he was going to sell them to other kids in the neighborhood. You told us that you did not observe any drugs, stated the white cop from inside the car. If these drugs aren't yours, how did they get inside your shorts? Cedric glanced over at Bryson, who looked as if he were going to shit a pile of bricks. He told the officer, I don't know the boy's name, just that he attends the youth center. No name, huh? Asked the white cop from the car. Cedric shook his head. This is unfortunate, Mr. Parker. I'm sorry, but we'll have to take you in. The black officer placed his hand on Cedric's shoulder. Please turn around and put your hands behind your back. Wait a minute. I said those drugs aren't mine. Cedric backed away from the cruiser. He glanced around to see a small crowd beginning to gather. The teens he encountered earlier looked on with unabashed amusement, high-fiving one another over his misfortune. The white policeman exited the car. He stood in front of the duo with his hand resting on his gun. I know you don't want any trouble. Neither do we. Cedric understood how quickly this situation could go south if he made any further move that even resembled him resisting arrest. With the current atmosphere of police brutality against black men reverberating across the country, the absolute last thing he wanted was to become another statistic. You're right. I don't want any trouble. I will cooperate. Cedric faced the cruiser and placed his hands behind his back as instructed. The white officer pulled a small card from his front pocket and began to read. Cedric Parker, I am placing you under arrest for suspicion of drug possession and distributing to minors. You have the right to remain silent. God damn it, Cedric uttered. You almost got away with it, the black officer said as he placed his hand atop Cedric's head, easing him into the back seat of the cruiser. And that concludes Chapter 12 and the excerpt. I hope you enjoyed that brief excerpt from Lost in the Offbeat. Please continue to follow me on my website at www.patriciaorhopkins.com, on Facebook at author Patricia Hopkins, and at Instagram at Patricia R. Hopkins. Thank you all so much for listening, and have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed day. Peace.